Mike had broken off the relationship. He disappeared from her life without a reason or a goodbye. And the worst part was, she felt too embarrassed to even call her friends for support. She didn't understand how something so perfect could shatter so quickly. I hadn't touched my coffee. I rubbed my eyes, cleared my throat, and asked if I could see her cell phone. I wanted to see how bad things actually were. Mike had broken off the relationship, and disappeared without a reason or goodbye. My heart sank as I scrolled through pages of unanswered texts. But then, something caught my attention. It was the last text Mike had sent to Rachel before he pulled away. There was one phrase in it that jumped out at me. It was almost like a hidden plea for help. And that's when it hit me. On a hunch, we ran back to my office and dug through my notes from previous clients. Sure enough, buried in one of those notes was that same core phrase from Mike's text message. As I sifted through more of these notes, variations of the same phrase popped up again and again. I realized I had stumbled upon a pattern. And it struck me that this pattern was connected to a deep-seated obsession in every man's mind. That's when everything clicked. I suddenly knew exactly what Rachel had to do. It was a long shot, but I explained my idea to her. I told her that since Mike wasn't answering his phone, she needed to trigger his secret obsession, or what I now call the hero instinct, with a signal that would immediately get his attention. Even something like a text message or a Facebook message would work. So I gave Rachel a simple 12-word text that she could send to Mike. And even though I didn't realize it at the time, I had just created the very first secret signal. Because hidden in those 12 innocent words was a subtle trigger phrase that was about to change everything. Rachel sent this simple 12-word text to Mike, that was about to change everything. Rachel was skeptical at first. But as she read the words out loud, her eyes lit up and I knew it clicked for her. So she crossed her fingers and hit send. Rachel was shocked when that very night, Mike showed up at her apartment door. It was his shaky voice that gripped her instantly and made her listen more intently to the words he spoke next. "I've realized that I won't be happy without you in my life." He never seemed more sure of anything. She immediately felt the relationship had changed. And it had. She began to see glimpses of a deeper side of Mike. He was so much warmer and more open. And he seemed healthier and happier, too. Before long, they were deeply in love again. And to think, it all started with that one secret signal in Rachel's 12-word text message. Now, if you're going through something like Rachel was, I want you to know, it's not your fault. It's not something you did or didn't do. Because a man's heart will always be elusive until you understand what drives him on a primal, instinctive level and how the subtle things you say and do deeply affect him. And that all comes down to understanding his hero instinct. By now you're probably wondering what exactly is the hero instinct. Right? Well, on the surface it's a deep, biological drive inside every man to feel needed. In other words, men are secretly obsessed with feeling irreplaceable. Like they're the only man for the job. But it's so much deeper than that. You see, men are so powerfully drawn to anything that makes them feel this way that it's the driving force behind their every thought and action without them even knowing it. To some extent, a man might get this hidden need met from his job, hobbies, or friends. But nothing in the world can satisfy that need like a woman. A woman who knows this secret. Now pay close attention because this is the most important part of this presentation. Men are secretly obsessed with feeling irreplaceable. Like they're the only man for the job. You see, awakening a man's hero instinct is the surest way to make him fall in love with you. In fact, there's nothing more stunningly attractive to a man. Because it makes you his primary obsession in life. And here's the secret to how that works. You become a man's obsession, not by meeting his needs, but by revealing your own. In other words, it's not about trying to please him, it's about giving him a way to please you. Which allows him to feel like he's actively winning you over. And here's why that's so critical. It's nearly impossible for a man to feel like he's in love if he doesn't feel like he's earning that love. When you do that, your relationship feels real to him for the first time. He feels like he's falling in love with you over and over again. All of his past relationships seem like a dim shadow to the passionate, urgent love he now feels for you. And it's because you've given him the first taste of real love. And when you do this, watch how his desire for you suddenly soars. Feel how he cherishes you, loves you, and understands you, in a way he never could have before. Because now he's truly at his best with you, and he'll be grateful every day that he found you. That's what happened when Rachel sent that text to Mike. That simple hidden phrase completely changed the way he saw he in his life. It was also a real eye-opener for me. In fact, I was so shocked at the power of that one secret signal that I became obsessed with finding more of them. I realized they needed to work over the phone, in person, and through text. They also had to be simple and easy to use, without having to spend months studying the deep psychology behind them. But most importantly, they had to increase a man's attraction and devotion in ways that feel completely natural. So I locked myself in my office and searched through my notes, courses, and transcripts from years' worth of coaching sessions. And at first it was slow going. But then I noticed something strange. Every time one of these women found the love and romance they were searching for, I could trace it back to a single moment. A moment when they had somehow signaled their man, and awoken a part of his mind that told him, "This is exactly what I want." There's something special about this woman. Sometimes it was a simple phrase, a thoughtful gesture, or even a short message like in Rachel's case. But they all had one thing in common. They seemed to trigger a strong emotional reaction in their man, awakening his hero instinct and making him instinctively notice her with new eyes. And that was always the turning point. Every time I discovered one of these signals, I wrote it down in this little black notebook I